name is Architect Larry Okunola. I represent the wonderful people of Surulere 2 Federal Constituency. I am from Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity to lead the debate on an act to assure adequate funding for mineral resource exploration, extraction through public-private partnership and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, this is a critical piece of legislation designed to transform Nigeria's mining sector through enhanced funding, strategic public-private collaboration, and adhering to best international practice in mineral resource exploration and extraction. The aim of this bill is to ensure that our mining sector reaches its full potential, creating jobs and fostering economic growth and strengthening our country's self-sufficiency in mineral resource. Mr. Speaker, the objective of this bill is to bring the private sector expertise and for effective and efficient mineral resource industry. Clearly, this is outlined in the bill. While the extraction of Nigerian abundant mineral resource through partnership between the public and private sector, this approach will reduce our dependency on oil and diversify the economy in making sure that the mining sector is both driven locally and internationally. There are provisions where the MPP bill established the coordination whereby we will now have to have what I call the Technical Management and Advisory Council. This council will comprise of experts in diverse fields that will support the program. Their main essence is to do the mapping, the annual mapping of the mineral areas, determine the necessary funding, and ensure post-mining rehabilitation too. The oversight will be carried out as duly explained on the bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that in conclusion, that the Mining Public-Private Partnership Bill 2023 is an essential legislative framework that will help to lay a foundation for a prosperous and sustainable mining sector in Nigeria. It represents a bold step towards realizing our mineral potentials, stimulating our economic development, and achieving a national aspiration. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I ask that this bill be supported. Thank you. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Appreciate and commend the sponsor of the bill to have a PPP arrangement in tapping, exploring, and extracting our mineral resources in this country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, you will agree with me that the untapped mineral resources in Nigeria is almost to the tune of more than 80%, as can be testified by the Chairman Mineral Resources, Honorable Jonathan Gaza. Honorable members, by design, government is not designed to do any business. It has been a practice all over the world that private companies or private partnership works, particularly in tapping the untapped mineral resources all over the world. In other words, the private sector may have the skills, the know-how, and the everything to tap the mineral resources, but it may not have the financial resources to do that. And at the end of the period, by the time you have a PPP arrangement, you realize that each and every resources all over the country will be tapped to the highest order or to the maximum level. So this is a very important bill, and we call on honorable members to contribute positively to the bill because it's going to increase our productivity as well as revenue generation. Thank you so much.
Of our new federal constituency of Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, this bill is timely and is as important as we passing it now. Mining industry, we had much value to our economy. Mr. Speaker, this bill in Zimbabwe, there is an arrangement like this. We can as well do better because we have abundant mineral resources lying fallow, untapped. And if my distinguished colleagues support this bill, it will help our economy at large. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. So we get a... I represent the entire people of Ugele North, Ugele South, and Udu. I'm from Delta State. I rise to move for the outstanding bills from previous assemblies to be reconsidered in this 10th assembly. First of which is the Merchant Shipping Act Amendment Bill 2024, HB 1592, Coastal and Inland Shipping Cabotage Act Amendment Bill 2024, HB 1593, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Bill 2024, HB 1594, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024, HB 1855, and Federal University Bureau Kebbi State Establishment Bill 2024, HB 1780. The House notes that pursuant to Order 12 through 17 of the standing orders, the House may, upon being re-gazetted or circulated, reconsider in the Committee of the Whole without commencing de novo the bills, whose report was presented by the committee before consideration, passed by the House and forwarded to the Senate for concurrence, for which no concurrence was made or negative, passed by the Senate and forwarded to the House, for which no concurrence was made or negative, or passed by the preceding assembly and forwarded to Mr. President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the term of the preceding assembly. The House also notes that the aforementioned bills were passed by the preceding assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the term of the last assembly. Aware that the bills were read for the first time as HB 1592, 1593, 1594, 1855, and 1780 respectively, the House resolves to recommit the bills to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
My distinguished colleagues, I am Dr. Suleiman Abubakar Gumi. I represent the good people of Gumi, Bukuyum Federal Constituency from Zamfara State. Mr. Speaker, I stand to move a motion that seeks to address breaches and other infractions of some federal government institutions on insurance and actuarial matters using forensic audits. The House notes that Section 88 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, is not restrictive of any method or approach within the confines of the law for committees to carry out oversight functions. Also note that while the conventional insurance is struggling with outdated insurance laws, there is a dearth of professional loss adjusters and irregular payment of loss adjusters' fee, non-remittance of premium, especially to insurers, lack of innovation, inconsistent government policies, lack of cooperation within the insurance industry, and poor governance issues in the industry, weak regulatory bodies as a result of moribund laws, low market penetration, and lack of trust from the insuring public. The deposit insurance suffers from ineffective supervision, leading to the failure of many banks, especially microfinance banks, challenges related to asset disposal, inadequate legal and regulatory framework, failure to collaborate effectively with CBN and AMCON to secure financial stability in the Nigerian economy, and the cumbersome process of failure, resolution, and reimbursement of depositors. Aware that over $1 billion that should have been remitted in Nigeria, if all insurance practitioners are given the option of the right of the first refusal, is being taken abroad, which affects the nation's economy, thereby always weakening our insurance sector and depleting our foreign reserve. Also aware that these breaches and infractions have given rise to excessive cession and retrocession of businesses in breach of the Local Content Act to the extent that 90% of the risk of some federal government organizations are placed outside the country. Concerned that non-transparency and the lack of accountability in insurance practice in Nigeria today have resulted in over 30 billion naira unsettled claims in the group life insurance of the Nigerian Police Force, Head of Service, and Ministry of Defense because of no actuarial valuation, no gap analysis, and non-compliance with Section 57 of the Insurance Act 2023 and Section 4, subsection 5 of the Pension Reform Act 2014, among other factors. Also concerned that the resultant effect of the above has led millions of families of the deceased federal government personnel that are the beneficiaries left suffering because they were not paid the entitlements of their breadwinners. When paid, in some cases, unallowed deductions are made, thereby shortchanging them. Also worried that there are huge unsettled life claims in Nigeria due to the fact that the premiums meant for payment were suspected to have been squandered by some insurance companies and a few individuals, and it's also a forensic auditors that will unravel. It's only forensic auditors that will unravel this. Resolved to mandate the Committee on Insurance and Actuarial Matters to conduct an investigation using forensic auditors where necessary and report within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mikey.